The film begins in Minnesota, 1983. A man is sharpening his knife and carefully packing his weapons into a bag. Clear signs he's a serial killer. As he steps out, he spots a woman in a phone booth and zeroes in on her. He approaches and offers the woman, Carrie, a ride. When she accepts, he's thrilled. Once she's inside his car, he locks the doors and grins, but things take a turn. Carrie immediately stabs him over 20 times. Meanwhile, we meet Joel, a horror film critic for the magazine Vicious Fanatics, interviewing Jack Portwood, a B-movie director. Joel challenges Jack's take on horror films and pitches his own idea about cab-driving killers. Jack laughs it off and kicks him out. At home, Joel sees his roommate Sarah, whom he secretly likes, being dropped off by her new boyfriend. Sarah comes in and kindly tells Joel she's having a girls' night, asking him to head out. Outside, Joel watches Bob, Sarah's boyfriend, and follows him to a Chinese restaurant. Pretending to be someone named Dave, Joel strikes up a conversation with Bob, assuming he's secretly married. But Bob reveals he's not married at all. He just wears a wedding ring for real estate sales tactics. Unaware of Joel's real identity, Bob badmouths Sarah's pathetic roommate, which shocks Joel. He learns Sarah only lets him live there out of pity. Bob then hooks up with another girl, leaving Joel to cover the bill. Hurt by what he's learned, Joel drinks heavily and calls Sarah from a payphone. That's when he unexpectedly runs into Carrie, the same woman from earlier. Shortly after, Joel stumbles into a storage closet and passes out. After the restaurant closes for the night, Joel wakes up and stumbles back into the dining area. There, he unknowingly walks into a bizarre meeting already in progress. The people gathered, Zachary, Mike, Hideo, Fritz, and Carrie, mistake Joel for someone named Phil, the group's new member. Assuming it's some sort of strange group therapy, Joel plays along and vaguely mentions struggling with an unnamed addiction. Mike talked enthusiastically about his passion, while Hideo seems unsettled by the empty chair at the table. As the group continues talking, it slowly dawns on Joel. He's surrounded by actual serial killers. When they ask why he's there, Joel panics and brings up his idea about a killer cab driver, trying to pass it off as his own story. Surprisingly, the group finds it compelling, and Joel feels momentarily safe. During a break, Joel attempts to sneak out, but loud banging interrupts him. Zachary urges him to open the door, and Joel does, only to find Bob walking in. Bob, who still knows Joel as Dave, is excited to see him again. Now in front of the killers, Bob believes Joel is Phil and starts asking about his background and methods. Joel tries to stick to his cab driver killer story, but Bob isn't buying it and begins to press him with questions. The others grow suspicious too. Bob eventually locks the door, and Joel is forced to admit he's not who they think he is. He tries to flee, but Bob tackles him to the ground. Surrounded and trapped, Joel becomes the center of a tense debate among the killers about what to do with him. As tensions rise, Zachary arrogantly claimed he's the most experienced, boasting of hundreds of kills. Fed up with his attitude, Mike suddenly stabs Zachary in the neck. Hideo and Fritz then finish him off. Carrie seizes the chaos to kick Joel into the kitchen and quickly locks the door behind them. Inside, she makes a shocking confession. She's not a serial killer at all, but an undercover assassin working for a secret organization tasked with eliminating serial killers. While the rest of the group waits in the dining area, assuming Carrie is finishing Joel off, she reveals the truth. Bob, Hideo, Fritz, and Mike are responsible for 12% of all unsolved murders across North America. Each has a twisted specialty. Hideo is a cannibalistic chef who turns human skin into gourmet dishes. Mike is a violent brute with deep-seated mommy issues, targeting college-aged victims. Fritz is a cold, emotionless killer who wears clown makeup during his murders. But the most dangerous is Bob, a brilliant sociopath with a 180 IQ who disguises himself as professionals like lawyers or real estate agents to lure his victims. As the killers start making moves to break into the kitchen, Carrie forms a plan. She shows Joel the dismembered body of Phil, the new recruit she killed earlier, and instructs Joel on what to do. Meanwhile, Hideo crosses through the ceiling vents, trying to sneak inside, while Fritz moves to the back door, attempting to unlock it with a key. Carrie hears the noise and arms herself with a meat cleaver, hiding in the shadows. Hideo drops into the kitchen and finds Joel lying face down beside Phil's spilled intestines. While Fritz reaches a hand through the door, Carrie chops off his fingers. At the same moment, Joel hurls Phil's intestines at Hideo. Hideo retaliates by throwing a knife that nearly kills Joel. Just in time, Carrie attacks, strangling Hideo to death using Phil's intestines. While Carrie and Joel regroup, Bob finds Joel's driver's license. Realizing the address, Bob discovers that Joel is Sarah's roommate. With a smirk, Bob threatens to kill Sarah. Acting on instinct, Joel pulls the fire alarm without waiting for Carrie's input. But Bob, with his genius-level IQ of 180, quickly turns the tables. He calls the police, claiming that Carrie is a dangerous intruder and Joel is her accomplice. Meanwhile, Carrie silently takes out her list of targets and crosses off Hideo's name. When the police arrive, Carrie and Joel surrender and are taken into custody, while Bob and the remaining killers watch calmly from their car nearby. At the station, Joel desperately tries to explain the truth, but the detectives dismiss his story as nonsense. Carrie also warns them about the killer still at large, but no one listens. Joel attempts to call Sarah to warn her, but she thinks he's being dramatic and tells him she's on her way to pick him up, then hangs up. Suddenly, Carrie lunges at Joel and punches him in the face. The officers respond by locking them both in a holding cell. Inside, Carrie apologizes to Joel, explaining that she only needed a distraction to steal a paperclip. Meanwhile, Bob shows up at the station dressed as a detective, claiming he's there to examine the suspects. Joel immediately recognizes him and tries to alert the officers, but no one believes him. Bob accuses Carrie of being volatile and unstable, giving her a smug, knowing glance before walking out. In another room, Bob schmoozes with the officers over drinks, using the opportunity to take Carrie's confiscated notebook. Inside is her hit list, proof of her covert mission. Meanwhile, Fritz sneaks up behind a police officer sitting at his desk and injects him with a paralyzing agent. In a rush of excitement, Fritz kills the officer by driving a nail into his forehead and drags the body away. Suddenly, the station lights go out. One officer, concerned, goes to check the power panel, only to have his hand sliced off by Mike with a machete, who then finishes him off. With two officers down, Bob takes on the last one. Grabbing a pair of pencils, he drives them into Officer Hand's ears, killing him instantly. Then Bob joins Mike and Fritz at the holding cells, only to discover that Carrie and Joel are already gone. Meanwhile, Carrie and Joel make it to the exit. Carrie tells Joel to go without her. Joel refuses at first, but Carrie insists she doesn't need him and locks herself inside the station, prepared to face the killers alone. Mike enters what appears to be an empty room and is startled by a mannequin. At that moment, Carrie strikes, ambushing him and pressing his own machete to his neck before taking him down. She ends him swiftly by stabbing him in the face. Soon after, Sarah arrives at the police station. Her rapid knocking draws Fritz's attention. Excited by new prey, Fritz unlocks the door and lets her in. Sarah steps inside, confused by the silence. The lights suddenly switch on, revealing Fritz. Sarah is startled, but holds her ground and fights back until Joel shows up. Carrie rushes in and injects Fritz with his own paralyzing serum. He collapses immediately. Wasting no time, Carrie topples a heavy cabinet on his head, crushing him. Just as they're preparing to leave, Bob sneaks in and stabs Carrie from behind. Joel jumps in to protect her and takes a stab in the arm. Fighting through the pain, he strikes Bob and knocks him unconscious. Joel quickly carries Carrie to Sarah's car and rushes her to the hospital. Just as they're about to drive off, Bob suddenly appears in front of the vehicle. Without a hesitation, Joel slams the accelerator and hits Bob, sending him crashing to the ground. The trio speeds to the hospital. There, a doctor successfully removes the dagger from Joel's hand, but Carrie remains unconscious in her hospital bed. Meanwhile, Bob, ever the master manipulator, disguises himself as a doctor and sneaks into the hospital. Later, when Joel steps out to get water, he notices a trail of blood on the floor. Alarmed, he races back to Carrie's room. Bob, poised with a scalpel over Carrie's body, prepares to strike. But at that moment, Carrie regains consciousness. Joel arrives just in time to knock Bob off the bed and into the wall.
a brutal fight breaks out. Bob grabs a knife and goes in for the kill, but Carrie intervenes. She stabs Bob repeatedly in the gut, finishing with a final stab straight to his eye. With Bob finally dead, Joel and Carrie escape the hospital, as Sarah watches her once awkward roommate step into a new chapter of his life. Sometime later, Joel visits a movie theater and is stunned to see a poster for a film titled Taxi Cab Driller. His idea has been turned into an actual movie. As he heads to the snack counter, the employee tells him the place is closed for the season. Suspicious, Joel asks what the man is doing there. The man says he's just restocking shelves, but something doesn't feel right. In the bathroom, Joel discovers the real employee tied up and gagged on the floor. The imposter realizes he's been caught and tries to flee, until Carrie hurls an axe into his head, killing him on the spot. Before leaving, Joel grabs some snacks for him and Carrie. As they drive off, the theater burns behind them, the flames lighting their path into a new adventure. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos.